breaking news from the boxing world. Ryan Garcia, after knocking down Devin Haney down 3 times in the fight, tested positive for Ostarine, which is a SARM. Dave Palumbo here with an RX Muscle rant. Breaking news from the boxing world. Ryan Garcia, after knocking down Devin Haney down 3 times in the fight, tested positive for Ostarine, which is a SARM, or selective androgen receptor modulator. Not an anabolic steroid, but on the banned list nonetheless. And there's a possibility of his, on the screening it came up that he was positive for 19-norandrosterone, which is a metabolite of 19-nortestosterone compounds like DECA, trenbolone. Now, what's interesting about this story is that these test results were not released after the weigh-in. I guess they're going to probably say that it took a couple days to get these things back. When they do drug tests, they do a sample A and sample B. So the sample A tested positive. He has 10 days now to request the sample B be tested in case one of the samples was tainted. And I'm sure they're going to request that. Now, what's interesting is that Ryan actually was enrolled in the VADA, V-A-D-A, voluntary drug testing program, because he doesn't take anabolics or any kind of performance enhancing drugs, so he voluntarily entered that. So he was being drug tested his whole training camp, and it just seems weird that right before the fight he would test positive when he didn't test positive the whole training camp for a drug like 19-nortestosterone derived steroids, because as we know, those long-acting metabolites of DECA can be in your system for up to 18 months sometimes. So why would you take a drug that would take probably 2 to 3 weeks to even kick in the day of the fight or the day before the fight? Doesn't make sense he would do that. And if it was in his system the whole time, how come it hasn't come up previously? Likewise, you know, I just don't see, it doesn't make sense. He even pointed out himself, he goes, why would I volunteer to be drug tested throughout my whole training camp if I was going to take drugs? It's just, it's the dumbest thing of all time. It seems as though this could be a framing. It could be a case of tainted nutritional supplements. He's saying that they're telling him that the ashwagandha route that he was taking could potentially be a cause of false positive. I don't buy into that at all. It seems like there's something going on here. Probably the fact that, for those of you who haven't been following the whole saga, Ryan was acting like a crazy person the entire pre-fight build-up. He was posting on social media. A lot of people thought he had mental illness or that he was on drugs, although he never failed a drug test. He was drug tested multiple times, never failed any drug tests. And he said after the fight that he was purposely acting like a crazy person because he wanted the Vegas odds makers to make him the underdog, which they did 6-1. He actually put in a bet on himself for $2 million, which he won $12 million for because he won a 6-1 bet. After the fight was over, so he made $12 million on that, and supposedly he told a lot of his friends to bet on him too. So he said it was like kind of playing posse with these guys, and he was messing with them, having them think that he wasn't taking the fight seriously when he actually was, and that was a strategy that he claims. And I saw him talk about that on the Patrick Bet-David show and the interview they did there. And he claims that he has an interview, or he has a documentary coming out where he talks about this strategy prior to them, you know, just starting training camp. So that'll be interesting to see. But this failed drug test seems like out of left field. And, you know, I know people who were in there with him, helping him out in terms of making weight. And the interesting thing is he didn't make weight. He actually was 3 pounds over, which you're allowed to be. But because he was 3 pounds over, he got fined $500,000 per pound that he was over. So he had to pay Devin Haney actually $1.5 million fine for being overweight, which he did pay him. And he never got the opportunity to win Devin Haney's belt. So while he won the fight, he never got the belt, but he did get the prize money. And I think he's going to earn somewhere upwards of $30 million, supposedly from what I hear. If the sample B comes back and he fails for that one too, they're probably going to strip him of the win and make it a no contest from what I understand. They won't give Haney the victory, but it'll become a no contest. And I don't know if he's going to be asked to give back the prize money or not. I don't know what his arrangement is. I think some of the money that he made was due to the pay-per-views, but he might have to give back some of it. He's on social media going crazy and basically saying, I never took anything. This is ridiculous. They're framing me. And, he did make some controversial statements. I know on the Patrick Bet-David interview he was talking about, going to some bohemian party up in Northern California where he saw, supposedly, older people having sex with children, and he's all for children's rights, and he's going to expose these people. So who knows, how deep this goes, or if there is some kind of, conspiracy against him, or if he just did what he said he didn't do, if he cheated. We don't know. The sample B will tell us more, but is it possible that the samples were tainted? That's a possibility as well. And I don't know if that's something that can be proven or not. It just doesn't make sense that he would be passing drug tests all along and then fail a drug test after the weigh-in. It just doesn't make any sense to me. There's no reason for him to be taking anything if he wasn't taking anything all along. It's not consistent. Something smells fishy here. Hopefully, he's got some good lawyers that we're going to be investigating this and trying to find out what's going on. And it'll be interesting to see what the B sample comes back as. Another thing to consider is the chain of command. When they took the urine samples from Ryan, was it in constant, the hands of a person who is certified to be holding those urine samples, and was it delivered to the lab unadulterated? That's going to be something that's going to have to be questioned as well. There's a lot of money on the line here. Obviously, this was a big title fight, and people are going to want to know what's really going on. So as the story develops, I will, try to fill you in on this. It's pretty interesting because I do have people inside of Ryan's camp who are helping him with certain aspects of his prep in terms of supplementation. Certainly not performance-enhancing drugs, but of the training nature and making weight. So I'm trying to get inside information on what's going on. Right now, it seems as though this is something that no one expected. Ryan is in complete shock. I saw his girlfriend's in complete shock. Everyone's just saying this is total BS, and he's going crazy as he always is on social media. And it'll be interesting to see how this all plays out. Dave Palumbo with an RX Muscle Rant.